Hello students, and welcome back to Unit 8, the Pythagorean Theorem and Irrational Numbers. I am Emma Reed, I'm an 8th grade math teacher, and today we are going to be looking at finding distances in the coordinate plane. And our focus question for today is how can we find the distance between 2 points on the coordinate grid? So come with me to our introduction/launch on slide A. And here we have sets A through E of coordinates. And our goal is to order these sets of coordinates from closest to farthest apart and explain our reasoning. So take a moment, look at these coordinates, think about what each part of the coordinate means on a graph, and list them in order from closest to farthest apart. And then, as always, you're going to explain your reasoning. How do you know? So take some time to think about that and make the order for your coordinates of sets A through E. And when you're ready, we'll move on to slide B. On slide B, we're working with the same set of coordinates, but we have some new questions to consider. So now we need to name a set of coordinates that would be closer together than any of the sets listed here. And we need to name a set of coordinates that would be farther apart than any of the sets listed here. So at this point, I'm going to offer you another resource to help support you in considering these different sets of ordered pairs, and maybe double check your work from slide A as you're thinking about the questions on slide B. So I'm going to navigate away to Desmos' graphing calculator, and I'll give you a link specifically to this website as well. So here we are on the graphing calculator, and I included the sets that we're focused on over here. And remember, our goal for slide B is to come up with a set of ordered pairs, a set of coordinates that are closer together than any of these sets, and a set that is farther apart than any of these sets. So if it helps you to visualize where these points would be on the graph, you can feel free to move the ordered pairs. I'll do the first one. So we have set A is 2, 4, and 2, 10. So consider using what we've learned in this unit and using this visual here. How could you calculate to know exactly what the length of this line segment would be? Because you'll only be able to find one that's shorter than all of them if you understand the length of each of these segments. So you can continue creating sets A through E if it's helpful to you. And then you can also move the points around to create your set that's closer together than any of these sets and your set that's farther apart. So take some time to play around with this if it helps you, and then we'll move back to our slides. So after you've had time to do your own thinking and use the Desmos graphing calculator if it's helpful to you, now you'll record your set of coordinates that would be closer together than any of these sets in the top, and your set that would be farther apart in the bottom. And when you're ready, we'll move on to our Explore section, and we're starting on slide C. And you're given 3 ordered pairs here, 3 coordinates. We have A, B, and C. And you are answering the question, what is the distance between point A and point B? And you can go back to that same website for the Desmos graphing calculator if you'd like to move the points around yourself. So pause and think about this one. And when you're ready, we'll move on to slide D. Now on slide D, we're working with the same graph, but this time we are answering the question, what is the distance between point B and point C? So record your thinking in the blue rectangle. And when you're ready, we'll move on to slide F. On slide F, we're going to calculate the distance between these 2 coordinates or ordered pairs, but as an added layer, now we also need to describe how we can find the distance between these 2 points. So whatever steps you took on slides D and E to calculate the distance, you're going to describe them as clearly as possible here on slide F. And the best way to think about recording steps to something or an explanation behind something is to say to yourself, what would I write to someone who has no idea what's going on? and that way you know you'll be including enough detail. So pause and explain how we could find the distance between these 2 points. So now that you've had some time to think about how to find the distance between these 2 points and explain it to someone else, I'm going to give you kind of a challenge problem where we have to think about what feedback would we give to a student. So I'm going to show some student thinking here, and you're going to determine what would you say to this student to help them understand how to find the distance between these 2 points. Okay, so let's imagine that you have a partner and your partner annotated the graph like this to show a distance of 3 and a distance of 5. And then their answer was the distance between these points is 8 units. I know this because it would take 3 units of vertical distance to get from y1 to y2 and 5 units of horizontal distance to get from x1 to x2. So ask yourself, what does this student understand about how to find the distance between 2 points? What are they doing right? And what does this student not understand yet about finding the distance between 2 points? What feedback would you give this student? And after you've had some time to think, you don't need to write this one down. Once you've thought this through, think about, is there anything you should add to your explanation on slide F to make sure that anyone who reads your thinking would understand how not to make the mistake that this student is making. And when you're ready, we'll move ahead to the summarize section. So now to summarize our learning for today, we're going to answer our focus question, which is how can we find the distance between 2 points on the coordinate grid? So you described this specifically on slide F with 2 points as an example. Here, you're going to generalize that, right? Make an explanation for how to find the distance between 2 points on the coordinate grid with any 2 ordered pairs or coordinates. And then, as always, you can use the space on the right to record your notes from the lesson summary. In your next lesson, we're going to work with figures on the coordinate plane and determining their perimeter by finding the length of the sides. Thank you for joining me today, and have a beautiful day.